With a name like Bloom, it seems only natural that plants should become a life's work. That's certainly the case with Alan Bloom. Born in 1906, he reckons he's been gardening for close on 80 years. The author of 27 books, most of them about gardening, but some works of fiction. He created what was the most famous perennial and alpine nursery in Europe, Bressingham Gardens. He developed and popularised the island bed concept for planting perennials, built the world-famous 5-acre dell garden, named and introduced into commerce 170 perennials and alpines, and laid all 5 miles of track for England's largest live steam museum. Alan, it's amazing what you've achieved in your lifetime. Can I take you right back to your childhood? What do you first remember?
Oh, as a matter of fact, my head's rather full of memories. I can't sort of pick anything out in particular. The first thing I remember, I think, was being told that Montague had got in, and that was a general election of 1910.
Goodness.
And it didn't really mean anything much more than that, but after that, lots of other memories came, and as a matter of fact, one of the memories that stick out more than any other, perhaps, is when I was about the same time, it was the custom then to let baby boys grow their hair until they were about 4 or 5. And my mother said that she'd take me to St Ives, which is the nearest little town, and took me to a shop where there were toys. Well, she said, I'll buy you a toy, but you go in that shop, which is next door, and wait for me. So I went in the next day, and they set me on a high chair and put a sheet round me, and I just wondered what all this was about. And suddenly I felt the scissors around my neck, and I was just furious. My mother came in with a toy, and I threw it on the floor. I said, I don't want my toy, I want my hair. And so that stuck, and of course that made me have some explanation as to why, when I didn't care much what people thought. As a matter of fact, I was getting close to 70. I thought, damn it, I'll let it grow and I'll never have it cut again.
So you have 1 or 2 moments as a lad that really stick in your mind. What about the gardening thing? Did you garden as a youngster?
Yes, I had a little bit of a garden, I suppose, when I was about 10. And the old rhyme, Mary, Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow, was cockle shells and bright blue bells and something all in a row. I did find some bits of brick and that sort of thing to make an edging. I don't think I got very far with it, but my father was a very keen gardener.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
But as a youngster, with your first few years in the nursery business, I mean, did you welcome all of those routine jobs that we all have to learn as sort of semi-apprentices? Were you?
Yes, up to a point. I mean, I went to a nursery at Wisbech to begin with, just before I was 16. I left school before I should have done because I felt that they couldn't do any more for me and I wanted to be a gardener. But it was pretty rough.
The nursery was pretty rough.
Yes, and not many perennials anyway. And once I got so fed up with weeding, and I'd got a barrow load of weeds, and I was to wheel them 100 yards to put them on a heap, I dug a hole instead because I thought it was round there that King John lost his treasures. And if I dug a hole, it might possibly come across it.
Always the optimist, eh?
Yeah.
You didn't find anything, presumably.
Oh, no. Just a lot of silt.
Because you work quite long hours then. The nursery hands in the 20s and 30s would have worked.
52 hours a week in 1922, this was, for 10 shillings.
Goodness.
And the next job I got a year or two later was in Tunbridge Wells. 15 shillings for then 50 hours a week.
So we're talking £0.75 of a pound, yes. Mm. And when did you go off on your own?
Actually, my parents got out of the original village where we were and got out of shopkeeping, which he hated, and took on a 5-acre holding at a place called Oakington, which is a bit nearer Cambridge. Father was able to indulge in his love of plants to his heart's content, but it was still mainly annual flowers and a bit of fruit as well. But he then decided, nearly 10 years later, to take over a glasshouse nursery at Mildenhall and left me renting this place at Oakington
So you took over your father's land?
Yes.
Yeah.
After my parents had left and I started, I only had 2 helpers, but it did grow, and perennials and alpines became the thing. For the first 2 or 3 years, I showed at Chelsea and 1 or 2 other shows. To stand at Chelsea shows, I did the first year I was there for 3 or 4 days and take 30, 40 pounds worth of orders. Just wasn't on, so by 1934 I said, hang this, I'm going to be wholesale. And I'd worked it out in my own mind that if I produced top quality plants at reasonable prices, gave good service and had a good variety, it should succeed. And it did. And by 1978-9, my catalogue had got 1,870 different kinds in it.
Goodness.
And we had quite a decent business. Yeah. And then the war came.
Get your home ready for winter. Join Ron Hazelton, Pat Simpson, and Jody Marks for the Great Fall Fix-Up live Thursday night at 8 on HGTV, Home and Garden Television.
If you were a little kangaroo, you'd be called a Joey.
If you were a kangaroo, you'd be a marsupial.
You know, Daddy kangaroos really love Little Debbie Nutty Bars.
And do you know that this little Joey ate the last one?
When Sears puts appliances on sale, they do it big. All appliances, all electronics, all computers, great brands, cool stuff you can really plug into. The big weekend sale. Nobody turns on a sale like Sears.
Have you heard? HGTV is spilling the beans with Grow It, a gardener's guide. Each week we travel to another beautiful garden and tell you their secrets.
This is the treasure of Sierra Madre.
Host Jeff Cox and other leading experts give regional reports from around the country. They dig up answers to pesky problems, share inside info for foolproof perennials, and uncover top secret tips.
Secrets you can use in your own garden.
Grow It, a gardener's guide. Tonight at 6:30 Eastern on Home and Garden Television.
I mean, you spoke about unusual plants being in your collection, and you've introduced scores and scores of new plants, haven't you?
Yes, it began while I was still at Oakington near Cambridge, but that was just a case of raising something from seed that I thought might show variations, picking out something good. And there's still some of the varieties that I raised then are still in cultivation. And when I came here, we did the same sort of thing again, and only a little of this camel hairbrush business of cross-pollination. But it's gone on from there, very often a case of growing quite a big collection of seedlings and picking out something that was really outstanding. And somebody said once that I ought to really go into it a bit more for the record. So I went right through the list and I found that I'd raised, named, and introduced 170 different plants.
Now, can I shoot off at a tangent and speak about Alan Bloom, the author? And I ought perhaps to preface it with a little remark from Lawrence Flatman. Lawrence worked with you for most of his life. I think he joined you, didn't he, as a lad from school. He said that he used to have instruction for you to go round to find the little stub of pencil that the staff used to throw away, and the envelopes, the big envelopes, clean envelopes, because they could be cut open, and you would use the stub of pencil and the opened envelope for economy, you know, and good housekeeping. Is it? Now, is this part of Mr. Bloom, the author?
Not really, no. I mean, all my books have been written longhand on foolscap. I couldn't bear to waste paper that had any use, and I'd make other notes on torn up, opened up envelopes and sharpen the pencil till there wasn't anything left to sharpen.
So that was right.
That side of it was right, but I think perhaps he exaggerated a little bit.
Well, these stories, you know, they benefit, don't they, with a little exaggeration, yes. Well, now, what about the books? Which of the gardening books do you most like, do you think?
I think the best books, in my own estimation, are those where I've written about the best perennials. The title is Perennials of Distinction and Alpines of Distinction.
Can we find a wealth of Alan Bloom's experience in those books?
Yes, most of them. I mean, there's one book that describes my life as a nurseryman, somewhat autobiographical, but it's got the very misleading title of Hardy Perennials. It's something quite different to that. It's not an advisory book. But my first book on perennials was 1962 or 3, I think it was. And I suppose I've written a dozen or more on different aspects of how to use perennials for trouble-free gardening, and was a bit of a title that there's no such thing as trouble-free gardening.
Can your radio do this? Only one radio gives you such big stereo sound, yet it's small enough to fit almost anywhere. The incredible Wave Radio from Bose. Only the Wave Radio can fill any room in your house with sound that popular science called a sonic marvel. The Bose Wave Radio. It'll make a big difference in the way you listen to music. Call today to learn about our free shipping offer, 30-day in-home trial, and 6-month payment plan.
My son Jason died in a car accident on April 3rd, 95. So I thought right away about donating his organs, because about 5 months before this accident, he said to me, "Mom, if anything ever happened to me, you should donate all my organs." And I just, I had never thought of it. And I said to him, "Why?" And he says, "Because I feel like I'm still living. And I know that he's happy I did that. It makes me feel good."
Hey, let me show you this from my daughter. She sent me a card. No reason. Just thinking of me, It's from my daughter. She says, "I love you. You can go back to what you were doing now." No special reason, not my birthday or anything like that.
So sweet. Oh, isn't that cute? That's really cute. I didn't even know.
No, wait. Look.
Want to give him bragging rights?
It's for my daughter.
For a lot less than you think?
She's so funny.
You know what to look for.
What if you could have a deodorant soap that goes beyond fresh and clean, all the way to soft? You can. Fresh Deodorant Caress has clean rinsing moisturizers for skin that feels soft and smooth. Plus, there's gentle deodorant protection to leave you feeling clean and shower fresh. Discover the difference for yourself. Call us and we'll send you a full-size bar absolutely free. Fresh Deodorant Caress with rich moisturizers and gentle deodorant protection that lasts and lasts. Fresh Deodorant Caress. Discover how you can feel this soft, this clean, this shower fresh. Experience the difference for yourself. Call now for your free full-size Fresh Deodorant Caress bar.
Every day, more people are choosing Lowe's Home Improvement Warehouse, and here's why.
Only Lowe's carries severe weather exterior paint.
With an endless selection of colors, this paint can really dress up your home.
And like the name says, it'll stand up to severe weather. Rain, snow, sleet, or sun.
It's so tough, it comes with a 15-year warranty. All at guaranteed everyday low prices, too.
Maybe that's why Lowe's is behind every great paint job.
When it comes to home improvement,
Lowe's knows.
Now, you've got about 10 of these big steam railway engines?
Yes, and I think of the 10, this is my favourite, because it got such a history attached to it, and it did 11,000 miles in America and Canada, and showed up very well against the American locomotives.
Fabulous machine, yes. But then you've got some working narrow gauge railway?
Oh, yes.
Now, where was this engine bought?
Well, it wasn't bought, it was built here, really, from scratch. In fact, we built two. And it's built to a Hunslet design, but everything was built here.
So you have some great engineers on the workshop floor.
Well, I could never do this sort of thing. I'm no engineer. All I do is give them encouragement.
Now, how long does it take to lay 100 yards of this sort of track?
Well, depends on the weather a lot, but it would take a week, thereabouts, to do 100 yards. But I insisted on the railway going at one side of the garden, not to go through it.
Because you get some lovely views across, don't you?
Yeah.
And those big trees are marvellous.
Yeah, they are. Well, I don't like to boast, but I think it is the most comprehensive rice team is in this country and probably in Europe. And it's an odd thing to do as distinct from being a gardener, but it seems to work.
Okay, all aboard. Now we can see these island beds.
Oh, yes.
This is a great show of colour in the foreground, considering it's September.
Yeah, well, it's a herbaceous clematis. People think there's nothing else that climbers in clematis, but this is a good perennial. And I had selected it some years ago as something being pretty good and was going to call it Blue Wings. But because it's an anniversary year, my family wanted it to be called after me.
So there we are. This is Clematis alum bloom. The butterflies certainly like it.
They do, yeah.
Yes. Well, I must put my name down for one of those, I think. I'll have an alum bloom clematis in my garden.
I don't think you can go wrong with that one.
Well, now, these are the original island beds, is that right?
Yes, yes, they were all made about 1953, and they were numbered, and this one was number 3 rather.
And this perfectly illustrates what you had in mind. Tallest in the middle?
That's right, and grading down everything in groups. Leave enough space between the groups, and you don't have any need for staking. It seems to be the right way of doing it when you got the space.
Well, the Nyphopias there, boy, there's bold things, aren't they? No staking on those. You'd think they'd blow over.
Well, that's a selection we made some years ago, and the chap who helped me a lot with both making the garden and hybridizing was named Percy Piper. So I thought it quite appropriate to name that one after him, but we call it Percy's Pride.
Oh, and look at those sedum. Some butterflies on those today. And you plant in really bold clumps, don't you?
Oh, yes. And always leave enough space around each group. And that makes for strength of stem.
So these were the original 6 or 7 island beds. And then how many out here?
Well, it got up to 47, and that's 40, and this is 39.
and a fair bit of them sort of tended in your spare time whilst you were looking after the nursery? And all kinds of examples of the plants you've introduced?
Yes, this is one of them, named after my eldest son. And it has a distinction of having the petals, they don't droop too much, and flowering a long, long time. It's a good plant.
Beautiful colour, yes.
Yeah.
Echinacea,
Robert
Bloom.
Yeah.
For questions or comments, please write to Great Gardeners, care of HGTV, Box 50970, Knoxville, Tennessee, 37950. Be sure to include the episode number and your daytime phone number.
Explore new lands. Take a walk on the wild side. And
Get those hands dirty.
with HGTV's Rebecca's Garden, it's jam-packed with quick, fun, and practical tips to keep your garden blooming all year round. Rebecca's Garden, tonight at 6, only on HGTV. HGTV takes you on an exciting world garden tour to the exotic gardens of Bali. Coming up next on HGTV Home and Garden Television.
Before people, before cities, it was clear, untouched, new. It can be new again with Brita. It's certified to remove chlorine, sediment, and 99% of lead. Brita. Tap water transformed.
There are some colors you can only find in the country, and these were the inspiration for the Country Colors collection from Ethan Allen, an affordable way to bring a fresh look to wherever you call home. Hurry in, the summer sale ends this weekend.
News about the great taste of Colombo is traveling fast. All across America, people are singing its praises. And one by one, they're switching. Colombo. Take us for a taste drive.
A tisket, a tasket, a green and yellow basket.
Oh.
I brought a basket for my mom, and on the way I dropped it.
We all know the problems of ordinary hooks, but Command adhesive hooks from 3M hold on strong until you simply stretch the tab. Command adhesive comes off clean. Real strength without the mess? What a welcome idea. Take Command. Holds on strong, releases on command. One more example of 3M innovation.
It's here. The wind tunnel by Hoover in a new model that's actually self-propelled. It's so easy to use, it almost works by itself. Wind tunnel harnesses the power of the wind to get carpets cleaner than any other clean air upright. Call now and this new self-propelled wind tunnel can be yours for just 5 easy payments of only $79.99. And there's more. Our super stretch 20-foot hose, an agitator on-off switch for bare floors, and unlike cyclonic machines that use dirt cups, which are messy to empty, Wind Tunnel has a convenient and clean allergen filtration system. Act now and we include all these extras, a $50 value, free. Just 5 easy payments of $79.99. Call now for your self-propelled wind tunnel by
Does it like you?
Do you spend much time sitting in the garden?
More than I used to. At one time, I could only go in the garden and do something, because I'd see weeds or whatever. Now, I do occasionally go and sit in the garden, and sometimes I get people coming up and like in chat or wanting to ask 1 or 2 questions. People that I don't deal with too well is those who come and say, you must feel proud of what you've done with this garden. And the fact is, I don't. I can always see room for improvement. You know, a group here might be moved to somewhere else to better effect or something like that. But, you know, the older you get, the more you realize what you don't know. And the very fact is that I feel it's more of a privilege to being able to do the garden, to make it as it is. And, you know, that does away with any sort of feelings of unjustifiable pride.
The family man aspect of your life seems to me, you know, quite different to the driving energy of the person who did so much. Let's speak to another side of Alan Bloom.
Yeah. In retrospect, I think sometimes that there were times when I ought to give more time to my family, my children, and less time to my ambitions, if you like. They didn't take at all well to being, say, helping me when things were tight years ago. You know, to say, well, I've got an order here to fill, would you come and help me or something like that. I felt that it wasn't quite right to force them, say, to do it. And, you know, I wanted to give them as much freedom as possible. And I didn't want them to think of me as a sort of ogre.
But in fact, that was wise. In practice, they need to be let off the hook and go and do their own things.
I've always felt that children, if they've got any gumption at all, should be allowed to work out their own plan for life, with guidance if they need it.
Oh. Alan, what about your philosophy of life? You know, looking back over the years, what should we learn?
Oh, I don't know. There's so much that I haven't learned that I ought to have done. But it's no good regretting the past. You have to live with it and benefit from it. And my ideas in that, what you say, the philosophy of life is fairly simple. That the most important thing in life is love and understanding and tolerance and so on. And this led me from being brought up fairly strict Anglican to the Quakers, and I joined the Quakers 40 years ago, and I still feel that their simplicity and genuineness is really all that is the most important thing. And the tolerance, love and understanding and is the most important thing in life. I've never really been one to go all out for profit and accumulate wealth. It taught me a lesson in 1939-40 when all I'd worked for, you know, to build up a nursery and so on, just went fut with the onset of war, that I'd got to readjust my ambitions. So a lot of the reclamation work I did during the war, I did as something that I enjoyed doing, and it happened to be of some value. And in the case of the building up the Steam Museum, for instance, I collected these engines at a pretty low price of probably 100, 150 pounds each. They're worth now 40 or 50,000 pounds each. But I gave them to the trust. I mean, you can't take them with you, and you can't take the money with you. And
but it is important they're preserved, isn't it?
Yes,
they're there.
Yes. So, in many ways, I'm content. In many ways, I can see where I could have done more than I've done.
More?
Well, if I hadn't sort of taken a wrong turning sometimes.
Not really, because you learned something from the experience.
I think I did learn.
Yes, you learned from those experiences.
There's an old Fenn saying, I heard a man once say, if you never fall into a ditch, you never learn how to get out.
Alan boy, how would you like to be remembered?
That's an awkward one. I think perhaps, apart from saying, well, he did what he thought was right at the time, which always goes without saying, I think perhaps if somebody would say he was a kindly maverick.
Well, I shall certainly remember you kindly, and yes, you were a little maverick. But I've thoroughly enjoyed that maverick nature. Thank you very much indeed.
This is the show that started it all.
Home and Garden Television is proud to bring you This Old House Classics.
Classic craftsmanship. Classic design. Classic solutions.
These are the shows you know and love, with all the tips, advice, and charm of an original American masterpiece.
Everything you need to make your home a classic. Preserving our history one old house at a time.
This Old House Classics. Tonight at 7 Eastern on HGTV, Home and Garden Television.
Extreme Homes. Meet real people living in some pretty unreal places. Extreme Homes. Tonight at 8:30 on HGTV.